What's going on, Flix Talkers? Welcome back to another movie review. This time, my spoiler-free review for MaXXXine. Now, this film is the third in the Ty West trilogy. We know, starting off with X, Pearl as the prequel to a character in X, and then finally we get MaXXXine, a character from X itself in the middle. I know, it's weird. Watch all the movies, guys. This is the third one. So before we get into my spoiler-free review, my likes, my dislikes, make sure to hit that big thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel today for more movie reviews like this, movie reactions, and live streams here on the channel. All right, guys. So I'm going to give you guys my honest thoughts. Once again, not pulling any punches. Starting off by saying that I am a huge fan of this franchise. I can't tell you really which one I favor the most yet. It's between X and Pearl, and hint, hint, this one is my least favorite. And I'm gonna let you guys know, before you hit that thumbs down button, please don't do it, because there's a lot of pros about this movie that I think will satisfy even the naysayers of this character, because I know for the majority, I think a lot of people like this character, MaXXXine. I know I do. Mia Goth is a standout in this movie as a performer. I will say, though, she really let it shine in X. She lets it be known in that movie, I will not accept a life I do not deserve. And in this one, she says it a couple times, you just don't really feel it. So let's get into it, y'all. Let's get into it, starting off with the cast. The cast is fantastic in this movie. I saw a lot of people that definitely blew me away. Some people that I didn't know too much about. Some people I was introduced to for the first time in this movie, and they kind of blew me away. But let me just name some of the standouts other than Mia Goth, because once again, I'm a Mia Goth stan. I think she's fantastic. I think she's definitely carried this series, you know, along with the gore and everything that goes along with this franchise, because the gore is here. We'll talk about that. So Elizabeth Debicki, playing Elizabeth Bender. All right, she plays a director. I didn't know too much about this actress at all. I thought she was phenomenal. She was a standout, strong woman that was definitely trying to create this movie with MaXXXine in it. All right, we don't get too meta with this, but it is a movie within a movie, right? She is filming a movie called The Puritan 2, or at least auditioning and wanted to be part of this movie, The Puritan 2, which is a full-fledged religious horror movie. And I gotta say, before we get into it, guys, there has been so much religious horror movies the last couple of years, and all the trailers that I was getting with before the movie, I feel like America has this fear, this sensation when it comes to that genre of horror movies. I didn't really grow up with it, but I've been watching like Omen and all these religious movies along the way that have to do with horror, and they are interesting, they are fun, they are, you know, pretty crazy sometimes. Next up, they did a great job. Kevin Bacon, he plays a private eye, a dick, some would say. And I thought he did a really, really good job in this movie playing his character role, though he does have a thick accent. I mean, Mia Goth has a thick accent that's not her original accent, but he puts on one that maybe you may not be familiar with, or at least seen him use a couple of times. So it takes a little while, a couple of minutes to let it kind of soak in a little bit. You know, the rich, sultry Southern kind of lays over and washes over you. And then you're like, okay, Kevin Bacon's doing his thing. And I thought he did a great job in this movie as well. Also, Giancarlo Esposito, who does kind of play the manager, the entertainment manager for Maxine Minx. He talks about his backstory, about how he discovered her as well and kind of got her into the adult industry. And now she wants to make movies, real full-fledged motion pictures. That's what she wants to be. She wants to be a star. We all know her story, even if we haven't seen the other movies. I think these trailers laid out, let it be known that she is here to be a star and do whatever it takes. And we do get to see that to some extent. Now, where does it go wrong for me? We get this shoehorned device of a whodunit surrounded by the Richard Ramirez Night Stalker killings of 1985, which is great. It lends itself to all the realism and everything that was going around. You know, around that time, I was born in 1985. I was living in LA in 1985. So I got to ask my parents what a time it was to be living in there, because like I said, I was a baby. I didn't know. But I know that this was a big thing because they didn't catch this guy for a year. They let it be known. They show a lot of cool clips and you feel really 80s nostalgia. spliced in with all this behind the scenes stuff from, you know, interviews with Maxine, you know, going to our auditions and stuff like that. Cool. You get a lot of cool transitions, split side stuff, and all that great stuff. While all of this is happening around her, you have two cops solving this murder, played by Bobby Cannavale as well as Michelle Moynihan. Now, those were kind of actors that I felt, you're getting a lot of subplots in this movie, a lot of subplots, and it does slow down. It's not a full-fledged horror movie, guys. Horrific things happen. There is gore, don't worry, to satisfy the gore hounds, especially right at the beginning. Oh my God, you see how deadly Maxine Minx is, and you get to see also what she probably has to deal with and women around her at that time in her line of business. You know, you got to do what you got to do, I guess. And I'm not going to, some of the internet's already spoiled this one scene, but Jesus Christ, I kind of just, I gasped in pain. I will say that when I saw this scene happen. But once again, it does lend to the character that she is. Now, when things start moving along, murders start happening, these police officers kind of find out that it's all centered around Maxine. Maxine does not want to worry about this while auditioning for movies. So it's once again this whole thing, I will not accept a life I do not deserve. And that means any roadblocks that get in my way. So she is very, very determined, but there's something about Pearl and Maxine. I know Maxine, the character, doesn't come into fruition until X, but I felt like I felt the passion in her eyes to even be an adult movie star in X. In this one, I didn't feel the passion anymore. I don't know, that might have only been me, but I just didn't feel the desperation, as that's exactly what I want to see. You're in Hollywood, but you haven't made it to a Hollywood movie star yet. So I didn't feel certain motivations, you know, here and there. I like some of the situations that we got. It was a bit outlandish. A lot of the 80s nostalgia felt super shoehorned in there. It didn't feel 80s authentic to me. Yeah, there's a lot of references and you know, there's a lot of VHS and horror stuff that's mentioned, and that's great for the fan service. I just didn't feel like I was in the 80s. I really didn't feel like I was in the 80s. You know, when you do something like this, especially in a location that I'm very familiar with, you gotta bring me there, man. It's not just adding film grain to everything, you know? People look modern and you're just throwing a filter over them, and to me that's not selling it. So I really wasn't sold that I was in 1985, is what I'm trying to say. And last but not least, the third act of this movie, man, it really disappointed me. I gotta say it. I can't believe I'm agreeing with half the people that didn't like the movie online, but now I can understand where they're coming from. This movie left such a sour taste in my mouth by the time it hit the credits. There is somewhat of a sentimental, satisfying ending for Maxine, I guess. I would have loved to see better, especially coming off of X. I don't even want to say Pearl, because Maxine is not in Pearl. So even though Mia Goth is playing dual characters of Pearl and Maxine, I know you got to watch all the movies. I still feel like X was the more satisfying movie. I don't know. It's weird to say, because there's a lot more budget. There's a lot more actors around this movie, and it just didn't do it for me. I just felt like the third act was almost like a joke that had so many plot holes in it. It wasn't even the biggest reveal. I kind of guessed it once we started, you know, getting to that point. And I don't know, I just wasn't satisfied. Some of the gore was pretty good, you know, cool kills, but that was to be expected from Ti West. This didn't surprise me. This let me down. And I'll be honest, guys, all that being said, 2024's Maxine, I'm going to give a solid 3 out of 5. And I'm giving the other ones such higher. I forget what rating I even gave them, but it was a lot higher than 3. So you guys let me know your thoughts about Maxine when you do see it. Please let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear all of your points that you liked or did not like. And if you guys did appreciate my thoughts on this film, it's kind of just coming out like word vomit, by the way. I don't have anything planned or anything. It's just fresh out of the theater. Let me know. Hit that big thumbs up to support the channel. Consider subscribing today for more movie reviews, movie reactions, and live streams here on the channel. All right, Flix Talkers. Till next one, I'm gone. Peace.